There is a version of you right now getting quietly poorer, not from a bad month, not from debt, not from anything you'd notice on a bank statement. You're getting poorer from something you agreed to years ago and never noticed you were still paying for every single day on autopilot. Somewhere behind the life you're living, there's a strip of land nobody waters. It belongs to you. It always did. And on it in your pocket are seeds, ideas, skills, a version of your name that could stand on its own 2 feet, and every day you don't plant them, they lose a little more of what makes them able to grow at all. Meanwhile, every morning you walk right past that land without even glancing at it, and you go water someone else's tree. You've gotten good at it, frighteningly good. You know exactly how much this tree needs, how early to show up, how late to stay, how to read the branches before they even ask, how to sense when the roots are thirsty before anyone tells you. You've spent years learning its structure better than you know your own. And it grows, God, it grows beautifully. Thick trunk, wide canopy, fruit that gets sold at a premium. Just never once with your name carved into the bark. Here's the part nobody says out loud. You didn't fail to build wealth because you're lazy or careless with money or unlucky. You built wealth, enormous amounts of it. You just built it into an account that was never yours to begin with. Somebody else is standing under that shade right now. Somewhere between graduating and settling in, a quiet trade got made, so quiet you probably don't remember signing it. You gave your best hours, the sharpest ones, the ones where your mind is actually clear enough to create something to a structure that compounds for someone else year after year without asking your permission first. And in exchange, you got something that feels a lot like safety. A paycheck landing on the same date every month, a title on a badge. A sense that you're doing exactly what a responsible adult is supposed to do. But safety and financial freedom are not the same thing. They only look similar from far away. Up close, one of them grows a future and the other one just delays a decision. And the gap between them is exactly where most people quietly disappear for decades. Picture the version of this that plays out in real offices every single year. Someone gets offered a raise, a bigger title, a corner desk, and it feels for a moment like proof they're winning. Nobody stops to ask what that raise actually bought them. It bought more hours on the same hill, a heavier boulder sometimes dressed up as an honor. The land behind the house doesn't get watered because the promotion arrived. It gets watered even less because now there's less time left over and the seeds in the pocket get pushed further down, out of sight, out of mind, still ticking. Because here's what's happening underneath right now, whether you feel it or not. Every month you spend fully invested in someone else's structure and only partially invested in your own. The seeds in your pocket get a little more dormant. Not dead, not yet, but dormant seeds don't wait patiently. They decay on a clock nobody warns you about. There's a window. And if that window closes long enough, the seed that could have grown into an orchard simply forgets how to grow at all. It stays a seed forever. Small, hard, harmless. Exactly what it was 10 years ago, except now it's 10 years older. That's the trade, not villains, not some grand conspiracy against you. Just time quietly withdrawing interest from an account you stopped checking a long time ago. You felt this already, don't pretend you haven't. That flicker at 11 p.m. when you're finishing something that will make someone else's quarter look good on a slide deck. That small, cold thought that flashes and disappears before you can even name it. This isn't building anything I'll still own in 10 years. You didn't imagine that thought. That's the part of you that still remembers the land behind the house, still remembers it's there, still remembers whose name is on the deed. Now here's where it gets strange, because the trap isn't laziness. It's the opposite. It's how good you are at this. The better you get at growing someone else's tree, the more that tree needs you specifically, the more it rewards you for staying exactly where you already are. Raises, recognition, a slightly better chair, a slightly better view from the window, all of it real. None of it something you can sell, pass down, or let grow quietly while you sleep. Think about the old story of the man condemned to push a boulder up a hill for eternity. Every single day, the same climb, the same weight pressing into his shoulder, and every single night it rolls back down, resetting itself to zero while he sleeps. For a long time, people read that story as a punishment about effort, about how hard the climb is. It isn't. The punishment was never the climbing. The punishment is that the hill was never his. No matter how strong his legs got, no matter how efficient his technique became, the mountain stayed someone else's mountain permanently by design. That's what a career built entirely without ownership actually is. Not laziness, not a lack of ambition. Real strength, genuine effort poured every single day into a hill that resets by design so the climb never turns into a summit. Here's the part that should genuinely unsettle you, sitting there right now. The exact same effort redirected toward your own strip of land does not reset. It compounds. A little bit of consistent care applied on purpose and that dormant seed stops being dormant. It becomes roots. The roots don't grow in a straight line you can watch. They grow slow, invisible under the surface for so long you start to think nothing is happening at all. And then, without warning, they don't grow slow anymore. The tree you plant this year is invisible in 12 months. It's barely a sapling in 2 years, and it's undeniable in 5, standing there with your name in the bark, growing whether you're standing next to it that particular afternoon or not. That's the entire difference between a wage and an asset. A wage grows a hill that resets every night. An asset grows a tree that eventually stops needing you to keep climbing at all. So why doesn't everyone just plant their own seeds? If the math's this obvious once you say it out loud. Because the other tree pays you today real money in your account this Friday, and your own land asks for water with absolutely nothing guaranteed in return. Not this month, maybe not even this year. Your brain is hardwired to take the guaranteed drop of water now over the uncertain harvest later. That wiring kept humans alive for thousands of years around campfires. It's also the exact reason most people's personal land stays a bare strip of dirt their entire lives, walked past twice a day and never once touched. But notice something important, something you already have proof of. Every skill you've sharpened while working for someone else, every ounce of judgment you've built solving other people's problems, none of that belongs to your employer. It belongs to your hands. It travels home with you every single night, sits in the car with you, walks in the front door with you. The tools were never the missing piece. What's missing isn't ability, it's direction. You've simply never once pointed those exact same tools at your own land. This is where most people expect a 5-step plan. There isn't one because the plan was never really the point. The point is smaller and far more uncomfortable than any plan. Pick one seed, one skill, 1 hour, one small asset you actually own outright, a piece of writing, a piece of code, a small offer, a single account that grows because of decisions only you make, not a side hustle you abandon in 6 restless weeks. One seed watered on purpose on your own land, starting this week, not next month. It doesn't need to be dramatic to count. It needs to be yours. 30 minutes before the rest of the world wakes up, spent on the one thing with your name on it instead of someone else's. A skill turned into something sellable instead of something merely useful to a manager. A single account, however small, where the growth belongs entirely to you and nobody else can move it, freeze it, or reorganize it away in a meeting you weren't invited to. Because here's the quiet, brutal math nobody says at the start when it would actually be useful to hear it. The version of you who starts today with one small dormant seed will, 5 years from now, be standing next to an actual tree. And the version of you who keeps perfecting someone else's harvest, who keeps whispering next year when things finally settle down, that version is still on the hill. Still climbing, still watching the same boulder roll back down every single night, right on schedule. The saddest ending was never the person who tried and built something small and imperfect. It's the person with brilliant seeds still sitting warm in their pocket at 60, never once given the soil, never once given the chance. You are not behind, you are not too late. But you are, right now, standing at the edge of 2 pieces of land, one that pays you today and asks nothing of you tomorrow, and one that has been waiting this entire time for you to simply turn around and look at it. The seeds are still viable for now. If this reframed the way you look at your time, that's exactly what this channel exists to do: cut through comfortable stories and hand you the one thing that actually moves you forward. Clarity you can act on tonight. Subscribe because the next video hands you the second half of this, how to keep your job and still start building wealth on land that's actually yours, without blowing up the safety you've already earned. Because somewhere out there right now, there's a version of you 5 years ahead, standing under a tree with your name in the bark. The only question left is whether you plant the seed today or let it sit in your pocket for one more season.